For a couple of weeks, we know now that Planet Zoo is not going to stop yet. This means there's going to be more new content. And also looking at the performance of Frontier at the moment, this may actually be the beginning of a change to the strategy. Let me explain why, but first of all, let me give you a bit of context. So, the launch of Planet Coaster 2 has been rough, to say the least. You know, current reviews on Steam not being great and official reviews of the media also not being that amazing, plus a whole bunch of feedback and also the reaction of the Frontier share. And, well, it doesn't really look that good, does it? Also, recently, yesterday to be precise, there were news about the F1 Manager continuation being cancelled. Originally, Frontier only had a 3-year deal planned, but there are rumors and also sources quoting that a new 3-year deal was already kind of sealed, but now has been scrapped. Again, I'm not really sure if it's true or not, but that's what the media outlets say, and I've linked you some articles on screen right now, so you can see where this is coming from. However, this video, to go now into Planet Zoo discussion, is fully speculative. I've given you the context of which I'm basing that off, but I feel like Frontier is standing, well, facing backside to the wall, how you ever said that in English, there's a German saying, right? They are really at the verge of getting into some serious problems, okay? The launch of Planet Coaster 2 has not really been what they needed. There are several reasons to that, but we're not going to speak about Planet Coaster 2 now. But they have now to focus on really what is working for them. And as much as I think the community of F1 Manager loves the game, it's clearly not what's selling at Frontier. So Frontier needs to focus back on what is making them money, and this is Planet Zoo. Planet Zoo has been potentially the best-selling game for them in relation to, well, every resources you can have as a developer. To be precise, what I'm talking about is, imagine you have a brand like Planet Coaster on which you more or less established your self-publishing regime, I should almost say, your era, because Frontier before that was mostly known as a studio producing a game for other publishers, such as Atari, for example, or Xbox, to name a few. Then, after Elite, which was always their self-published game, Planet Coaster was the second one to follow up, and obviously, Planet Coaster has been a huge success, and the Planet game was founded. As Frontier said, and this is their quotes, it's not mine, their game goal was always to produce Planet Zoo. They always said about Planet Zoo, that's the game they had in mind when they started with Planet Coaster. Be that true or not, that's what they said, but the way how Planet Zoo works as of now, speaking of end of 2024, it is a brilliant, brilliant game. I still do say there's a lot lacking and there's a lot missing from this game, but for what it is a super great game, and it deserves all the love and all the praise and all the updates. And I was, and I'm very happy to correct myself here, I was 100% sure that the last DLC was the last one, including the last update. I was already very, very surprised that there was even one more. When they announced beginning of this year, after the last DLC, that there is another one coming, I was already like, ooh, I did not expect that. And so I even more didn't expect the last one to happen. And plus, having now the announcement there is more coming to the game, which is a very, very good surprise. Okay, but let's put a little break over here. We've set this theme now, okay? And for me, always was like, it doesn't matter if the last one was the last one or if the next one is the last one. For me, it was clear we are at the end of the lifespan of Planet Zoo 2. I always thought, okay, Frontier is having a huge plan behind them, behind closed doors, so to say, where you have Planet Coaster 2 this year, Jurassic World Evolution 3 next year, and the year after Planet Zoo 2. So because they obviously had all these layoffs and the resources and the staff at Frontier is limited, you clearly would have shifted a lot of people over to Planet Coaster 2. Now, as of saying this in the past, and I've not done a video like that for over a month, so clearly before the launch of Planet Coaster 2, but I think things have changed dramatically. The team behind Planet Coaster 2 seemingly is not really the team that has been behind Planet Zoo. Because if so, a lot of the drama would have been avoided. And seeing also from, you can't really tell too much from outside, but looking at the job descriptions, looking at the people you hear in streams, looking at the people in the credits, looking at all these things, there doesn't seem to be a huge share between those two games, which kind of made me a little bit confused because I wasn't expecting that. So it could either be that a lot of the layoffs have been affected the Planet Zoo team, or that there isn't that big of a shift going on because of two reasons. Because A, Planet Zoo 2 is, or has been in development, you know, depending on what is happening right now. And the people who still produce DLCs because they sell relatively well and make some good money. Imagine all these DLCs will eventually also come to console, so making double amount of money from what you have. And we have a very stable console version and a very stable PC version at this point in time. There are hundreds of things I could list now, which is better in Planet Zoo than in Planet Coaster 2 at the moment being, which might be changed over the future. But it may be that all these things now, all the things that happened, all of this, and if Frontier is at least somewhat clever, they have seen it coming. They have seen it coming that this launch is not going to go well. And maybe they have already changed plans. But what does that actually mean? And again, we are fully speculative here. I just want to make that very clear because otherwise people in the comments will be going nuts again and telling me that I'm pulling evidence from where there isn't. And yeah, you're right. In this video, there is no evidence. It's just basing on, you know, all my observations at the moment. And if you're not in for, you know, speculations, you may very well end this video now. If not, stick with me and join the discussion later on in the comments because I think we are onto something. So if I were Frontier, I would have observed that situation just as I did, and I would have, you know, asked myself what would be clever to do. So I would do the following. I would go into the development of Planet Zoo 2, and you know, I am considering right now, I'm just putting in as a fact that they are developing Planet Zoo 2 as of now, even if it's not for 2026 planned, maybe for the future. But I would be going there and seeing what can I pull from that game that I can bring back into Planet Zoo as a DLC right now without harming the news of a potential successor. So, looking at the situation of Planet Zoo in comparison to what Planet Coaster 2 has done, clearly a fully marine animal kind of scope, a overhauled bird mechanism, because technically we have birds in, but you know what I mean, like proper aviation, would be in the books, and it would fit perfectly in because that's how they did this with Jurassic World Evolution 2 versus 1. The big show of the star of the show has been the aquariums and the aviaries in a way, the new aviaries I should say, because the old one had one as well, but you know what I mean. And so I guess that's the plan, but eventually there will be a lot of other new things you could implement into a new game. So if I were Frontier again, to say that, I would be pulling these things and make sure that the lifespan of Planet Zoo 1 is going to be continued. The big question is there even a chance to, well, not go fully into a new game, but rather update Planet Zoo with the necessary stuff to make it go way beyond that and maybe release a bigger expansion pack instead? This is definitely something that is absolutely not common nowadays. This is definitely not something that you would do. But to make money and to clear some of the pain they have right now, putting a very well-running game into an even better state wouldn't be the weirdest thing to do. So let's put it that way. It's all a bit more speculative than it should be because there's clearly nothing I can pull it from. But in my expectations, if a second game, Planet Zoo 2, would be about to be released, there are clearly a couple of things that have to be met to be considered a proper successor. And kind of the same applies as to Planet Coaster 2 as well. The foundation of the first game has to be met equally or even better, and then add on full aquatic kind of stuff, you know, aquariums and so on. For me personally, also the small exhibits need to be completely overhauled to make them actually usable as a proper element in a park. The pathing obviously has to become something, but this is, for example, the pathing. Let alone that. You have this system now. Would it sell a new game, or wouldn't it be great if they go like, hey, you know what, the Cobra engine is capable of pulling a new path system. Let's just update that. Let's bring the path system from Planet Coaster 2 over with a big update to Planet Zoo 1, because it wouldn't harm a second game. You know, you could even refine the new pathing, learn what the people are doing with it, learn what the people are not doing with it or can't do with it, and then bring it to perfection in the second game. That's what I would do, because the resources clearly are there, the system is there, the code is there, it is on the same engine. Why not? So I'm really hoping maybe there's a chance that against all odds, Planet Zoo 1 will actually receive a bigger update, or bigger updates, I should say, in the future than we all would have expected, than I would have expected. And just because we are now looking at a situation where Frontier desperately is in need to make money and to make their fans and followers somehow happy. So if there's a chance you can do this with the available stuff without going overtime or whatnot, clearly this is what I would be doing. Would this actually even stop the development of Planet Zoo 2? Well, a couple weeks ago I would have said clearly no. I'm not so certain now, guys. I'm really not so certain now. Calling it a day with the F1 Manager as a very good IP for at least the widespread, kind of awareness of the studio, it clearly is a decision that they wouldn't have taken if they were doing better already. If you look at the stocks of them, the shares and stuff, it really doesn't look that good at all. If you look at the overall situation of the new released game, you clearly don't think they're doing any better, And if you look at what is going on next year with Jurassic World Evolution 3, even if that game is going to be great, you still have a very big uncertainty because the movie could become a big failure. And it's Jurassic, it's a big franchise, but Jurassic World as a franchise has already caused some, I don't want to say failed, but it definitely isn't undisputed, and it's definitely not the holy grail of the Jurassic successors. Chaos Theory and Camp Cretaceous kind of is saving this whole franchise by now, but as there's not that big of a connection, who knows? So you are in such an uncertain situation right now that maybe this brought them to change their mind. Is it likely? I really doubt. I really think they are doing the bare minimum now for the next coming DLCs to make money and to not really go into the different, resources too much. But hey, maybe I'm wrong again, and I'm happily being wrong again. But now let's hear what you guys think about the situation. What do you think would be the next DLC? And considering if they would change their approach a little, what would be the first thing you would love to see in the game, in Planet Zoo 1? And as a last bit, my wish, just to finish that off, is that they are bringing fully aquatic stuff into Planet Zoo 1. And I'm going to tell you why as a last thing of this video. I think they are so close to this because of having full diving, because of having the semi-marine or semi-aquatic animals in-game, because of already having the exhibits. You could do this in this game and you still wouldn't harm a second game that does it many times better by having a bigger choice of animals, a better way of interaction in the water, a way better diving system. There is so much you can improve about the AI in this game. So again, you wouldn't do that much harm, but you would be pulling in a lot more people back into this franchise, into this game. And hell, maybe even add ray tracing to the game? I don't know. It's just a little thought. Anyways, gonna leave you with this one. Thank you so much for watching this speculation video. I talk to you in the next one, and hopefully being a bit more healthy then. Sorry for my voice in this one, there's no way around that. It's the flu, it's everywhere. Have a good one, goodbye.